Hey guys, welcome back. Today I want to talk about games. A lot of teachers don't believe in playing games in the classroom. I am all for games. There are so many different things that games help us to do. Number one is peer positivity. Okay, using games is a lesson. Okay, as a part of teaching and learning, it helps to create positivity around a lesson, motivating students with their participation and creating a positive attitude towards learning. Okay, learning can become redundant for some of these children, and being able to incorporate a positive memory game or something that helps them only creates positive momentum for those students that are struggling. Okay, that's one, peer positivity. Two, class cooperation. How many of you all have been sitting in a class being like, nobody wants to cooperate? Why don't you all want to answer these questions? Well, games. Okay, playing games in the classroom increases class cooperation. Students need to work together as a team in playing as a whole class against a teacher or in small groups. So playing games helps build that cooperation. If they're in a small group and they're not putting in their work or their actions with their group, their classmates will be like, dude, come on, we need to be the teacher or we need to be this group, because they always want to come out on top. So you have peer positivity and you have class cooperation. Next is alert attention. Playing games requires students to pay attention. Great attention detail. As games move very quickly, then they have to pay attention and be very attentive as to what's going on. So if you have Billy over here that maybe isn't always paying attention, whenever you involve a game and most students are competitive or feel like they have to be competitive because they're in a team with somebody else, then they're going to be much more likely to pay attention during this so that they're able to help out their group. Okay, 4, friendly fun. Okay, playing games in a classroom is always tons of fun, as well as creating lots of memories. When playing a game, the endorphins that are produced, it stimulates the brain and gives students a feeling. Okay, this feeling creates a sense of happiness and excitement for the students to be there, to be in the classroom, to be involved in something, while it is also developing positive learning as well as that positive learning environment for these kids. Okay, some of our students don't come from the best of households, or maybe they just don't get this one-on-one, but these games actually stimulate that positive learning atmosphere and they want to be there. It's not like anymore, oh gosh, I have to be here again. School? No, I don't want to go to school. They look forward to coming to school to be with you as you incorporate these learning activities into their day. So I have several games that I have used in the past, some that I have found, some that I have been shared with me that have really seemed to go a long way. Some of these games are just games, something like a mind break that these kids just need a few minutes to let go of their studies and just be kids. Some of these games are tied into your lessons. You can adapt them to be corresponded with what you're doing in your lesson plans. Okay, so I'm going to break these games up into about 3 or 4 videos, because if you are like me, you don't like sitting there very long. I like to get to the point, get it out, and move on. Okay, so I'm going to break it into about 3 or 4 videos. That way it's not all lumped into one. You watch one, you get 3 or 4 games. You watch another, you get 3 or 4 games. Maybe you can take the first video and test out those games in your classroom before you watch the second video. Okay, like I said, these have been, I have found, I have seen other teachers do, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. So as you're working through them and you're testing them, let me know how they work for you. Now, not all of these games are going to work for every teacher. Okay, first game that I want to talk about is Heads Up 7-Up. I played this when I was in school and I loved it. Now you will have some cheaters, but the object of this game is to have fun. Okay, this is not tied to curriculum at all. This is just a fun game. You are going to pick 7 students. They are going to go to the front of the classroom. You are going to say heads down. Everybody in their seat is then going to put their head down, eyes closed. You're not supposed to see. I would highly encourage them to keep their eyes closed so they're not peeking at the students' shoes that are tapping them. Okay? As their hands are like this, they have their thumb up. Okay? The 7 students that are in the front of the classroom are going to go around and put down 1 thumb. Okay? So if your thumb gets pushed down, you know that that student has been picked. All students keep their eyes closed until all 7 students that were chosen has picked a thumb and has returned to the front of the classroom. Once all students are back to the front of the classroom, the teacher will say, heads up, 7 up. The 7 students that were sitting in their seats will then stand up at their seat. Going around the room, they get a chance to guess what student standing in the front of the classroom put their thumb down. If they guess it incorrect, they have a seat. If they guess it correct, the student that touched them will then switch. That student will go up to the front. The student that chose them will go sit down. And you will continue the cycle. Okay? I would encourage your students that, let's say, that the student picked a student that's standing in the front of the classroom and they didn't get picked. The other student goes, yes, I got you. I would encourage them not to do that because that makes it easier for the rest of the students to go to pick who they chose if the people are eliminated as they do that. Okay, so you would encourage them not to be like, I did it. Okay, that you just kind of be like, and you will learn that these students have a really hard time keeping a straight face, and it becomes a game that they all love. And you'll start to learn to read the students as they start to learn to read each other. Just a building activity, no curriculum tied to it. You can do it 1-2 rounds every other day after they do quick getting ready to line up to go home. If there's a little spare time, throw in a game. Okay, they're already ready. It takes you 3 minutes maybe to play around, if that. Let them build. Okay, second game, Sparkle. This could be tied to your curriculum. Like right now, we do spelling words still. I like to do this with spelling. I create 2 lines. I split my class down half and I have a line going across each side of my classroom. Okay, Sparkle you can tie to vocabulary words, spelling words, anything that you're working with, just to make sure that they're studying those at home and that they're understanding them. So I like to use it for spelling because they have to know how to spell the words. So at the very beginning of my lines, I will give them a word. Okay, the first time you probably want one big line just because you don't want them confusing. You're going to give them one of your spelling words. Let's say the word was pizza. The first person in line is going to say P. Second person's going to say I. Third person's going to say Z. Fourth person's going to say Z. Fifth person's going to say Z. Pizza. When that last letter is said, if I say A, this is the last letter, I'm going to turn to the student behind me and say Sparkle. Okay, that means that student is out and they return to their seat until all of the students are gone. It is not a grand and glorious, oh, I know the answer. It's literally luck of the draw. Now, if it comes to you and you don't know the number, the letter that's next, if it's pizza and you don't know that the Z comes after I, you then get to sit down and it continues on. Okay? The idea is to see the last person standing. Okay? Sometimes you can do 2 groups, 3 groups, and see how fast they can get it and make a competition. Like I said, those spelling words are really great for that because they're really working on those spelling words. And they can actually go ahead and get things moving that way. Alright, the third game is called Change Reaction. Okay, you can adapt this into your curriculum as you're working. What you're going to do is the teacher is actually going to write a category up on the board. If you're working with foods, you can do foods. If you're working with poetry, you can do poetry. If you're working with math terms, you can do math terms. Whatever you are working with at the time, you can implement it into this and make it part of your curriculum. Okay, but the teacher's going to write a letter, A to Z, on the sheet on the board. Okay, no. Game 3 is chain reaction. You can build this into your curriculum with whatever you're working on. The teacher is going to write a category up on the board. It is whatever you're working with. It can be food, it can be presidents, it can be poetry, math terms. If you're working on, I don't know, whatever you want to work on, whatever you're working with in that curriculum or in that week, or like I said, you could use it at different times. The teacher's going to write that category up on the board. The students are then going to write A to Z on a sheet of paper. Okay, the students have 5 minutes to create an alphabetical list of as many things that they can on that topic before their time runs out. Okay, so if we're talking about food, I'm going to have apple, banana, carrot. What's a D? You have to keep going. Okay, donuts, eggplant. Okay, and you're going to keep going, but you want to tie that in as closely as you can to your curriculum and make sure that they're understanding that that vocab is important as you're teaching it. So when you play this game, they're thinking of those things that you taught them throughout time. Okay, so the first person to give, to have it all completed, of course, is the winner, so forth and so on. So you want to make sure that you are working. Now, are all students going to get 25, all of the alphabet? More than likely not, okay? If you're thinking about math terms, you're really not going to find a lot of things with Z or Q, okay? You might, but they may have to go outside of what you're teaching them. Like if you're not teaching quarts yet, they don't know that that's a math term, okay? So you would have to do a process of elimination. Who got, 16? Oh, you got 16. Let's look at them. Who got 14? And kind of see who won that way. And like I said, games are a great way to bring in that friendly competition and really build their alert system for not only class, because they're wanting to pay attention so they can play these games and get ahead, but they're always in competition with each other. If you have a prize box in your room or if you have a treat jar, something simple, if they get first place, give them a treat. I have a picture spot in my room. Sometimes I'll snap a picture and we'll have a running leader, and everybody eventually gets their picture up there, they get a piece of candy, and they really enjoy it. Okay, so that is the first 3 games in my rotation that I'm going to share with you. I hope to see you real soon to share some more games with you. If you're playing these and they work for you, or if you've done them in the past and you've had awesome outcome, go ahead and share with us in the comment section below. If you found this helpful, go ahead and hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to my channel and let me know what I can help you with. Bye guys!